Hey everyone, I'm Nicole,
And I'm Gabrielle.
and we are the hosts of the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Join us every week as we discuss all the spiritual topics like astrology, mediumship, psychic insights, and so much more.
We are often joined by others we have met along our spiritual journey who are well versed in many of these areas.
Get ready for enlightening discussions and interviews and personal experiences that we hope will expand your mind and get you thinking outside of the box.
Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just beginning your spiritual journey, there's something here for everyone.
Check us out every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts. See you then.
Bye!
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Soul Ecosystem Podcast. We are on episode 29, and I am so grateful to have you here. I am going to be looking into Catherine Paiz and Austin McBroom's soul contract today using the soul matrix modality, also known as the destiny matrix modality. This is a modality that combines Jewish mysticism, numerology, astrology, and tarology to bring you your soul contract. The focus is heavily on numerology, but we also see other ancient modalities woven into this that can help us see what we agreed to when we came here, when we incarnated here. The reason I wanted to discuss Catherine and Austin's soul contract is because it's been all over everything I've seen. It's all over my Instagram feed because I watch it. It's all over Snapchat. And with the release of Catherine's new book, she came onto the Call Her Daddy podcast to discuss the book and her relationship with Austin McBroom. And me and hubby both listened to the whole entire episode, and I kind of filled him in on the details of what went down. And we were both just kind of shocked. And I've kind of low-key followed some of Austin's feedback from that episode. And then I knew I needed to do a podcast episode on this because it is giving narcissism. It's giving narcissism to the max. So I had to look into their soul contracts, and I was a little bit surprised by both of their contracts. And I kind of want to go into detail about what I found and give you guys the lowdown. My primary focus here is I feel like Austin is very good at putting on a show. And through the way that he talks and some of his mannerisms and some of the things that he says, it is giving so many red flags. Like, I immediately see so much of the stuff that my ex-husband would do. I see so much of the same kind of like gameplay. It's like they have the same rule book that they go by, that they try to discredit somebody or to shame somebody or to accuse them, like take away their credibility. It's very, very interesting, and I'd love to address all of it as I go through these soul contracts, and maybe if I forget to address concrete examples, I'll just bring it up at the end. So let's dive in. So we are going to dive deep into the soul contracts of Catherine Paiz and Austin McBroom, better known as the Ace family. Their story isn't just about YouTube fame and fortune. As Catherine mentioned in the Call Her Daddy podcast, they were kind of the OGs to family vlogging, to vlogging their pregnancy, then the birth of their kids. They were one of the first to really go big, really get famous from doing that. But this is more of a soul journey of karmic contracts, very public tests, and deep subconscious programs, like really, really deep. So let's explore what their soul contracts say and why their relationship was destined. Catherine Paiz was born on August 24th, 1990. Her soul contract is rooted in the energy of 6 and 8. Those are her primary numbers. And right away we see a woman who is deeply committed to family, also to spiritual growth and inner transformation. So 6 is the energy of family, it's the energy of relationships, both with self and with others. This is somebody that is very mother bear, very fiercely protective of their family. And then the 8 energy comes in with a lot of self-awareness and transformation, a lot of spiritual growth energy. The number 6 is the archetype of the nurturer. She is naturally loyal, emotionally invested, and willing to sacrifice herself for those she loves. She's a ride or die for sure, but this number also invites her into deep self-reflection, because 6 energy can care so much that it becomes overly dependent on outside validation, especially in the public eye. She values her image a lot, which reminds me of the fact that Austin was saying that Catherine was totally fine with him cheating in their relationship as long as he didn't embarrass her. And the thing that I'm seeing a lot in his energy, in the way that he talks, is he takes little bits and pieces of the truth and then kind of distorts it, which is something that narcissists do all the time. So I very much believe that she asked him not to embarrass her, but she definitely did not say, oh yeah, you can go and have your flings and have this and that, just don't embarrass me. She meant it like, please don't go out of our marriage, don't go outside of our marriage and totally destroy our family and embarrass me by being the wife that doesn't know that her husband's hooking up with everybody. So she very much cares about other people's opinions of her, and that is the negative side of the 6 energy. This is also kind of a little bit of a Gemini thing, because 6 is the month of June. So Geminis, if they're born in June, are going to have that energy, as well as Cancers, if they're like early Cancers, like late June. The number 8 speaks to Catherine's hunger for truth. So I'm very, very much in love with the 8 energy, because it is all about justice. She is also a seeker of knowledge. She's drawn to karmic justice, the law of cause and effect, and greater spiritual understanding. She's always kind of searching for more self-knowledge in order to be able to understand those around her better. This is somebody that asks what's really going on here and craves depth over surface. So if they went through something traumatic, she's likely the type of person that is trying to understand what made the perpetrator tick, what made them the way they are, that they did something horrible or that they did something that traumatized someone else. So she's a person that really likes to ask why and understand a concept. The number 8 in her chart also shows that she is drawn to philanthropy, spiritual work, and it also kind of denotes that she's an amazing writer. But like I said, both the 6 and 8 have their shadow side. The 6 can lean towards superficiality and impulsive choices if it's disconnected from its center. And the 8, especially when emotionally activated, especially when there's emotional stuff involved, can become overly involved in problems and drama that aren't hers to fix, unintentionally creating more drama while they're trying to restore the balance. So think of a friend that's really eager to help you with either a relationship or some family problems, and she might end up actually making it worse by involving others. As far as subconscious programs go, Catherine doesn't have many of them, but the ones that she has are very, I don't see them pop up often. They're not rare, but it's a very interesting mix. It's a very interesting combination. The one that I wanted to address the most is, like I said, she just put out a book, and it's not surprising that it's getting amazing reviews everywhere. I keep seeing her stories and posting all of the comments that people are saying about it, and it's really sweet. It's very well written, and that's no surprise because she has the program that talks about her being an amazing writer, an amazing director, because she has a great imagination. She's very creative. She's a very creative person, and she knows how to put her words down on paper. She knows how to kind of carry these messages and thoughts through her words in order to convey things, convey ideas to people. She's very, very good at that. I also noticed that she has a prison program, and if you guys have heard me speak to the prison program before, you're gonna know that the prison program can often mean that it's an actual prison sentence, but in most cases it is not. In most cases it is more of a mental prison. It is a prison that people put themselves in voluntarily because they don't see a way out of their situation. They feel like they are imprisoned, and they kind of have to learn throughout this incarnation how to get out of that self-imprisonment. And it may be kind of like a victim mentality, stuck in a victim mentality, that I'm sure that Catherine has had to rewire in order to find herself again. Now, in regards to Austin McBroom, I went through his soul contract. I was looking at his subconscious programs, and I was listing through them, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's bad. That's bad. And then I got to the bottom one, and my jaw just dropped, because he has a subconscious program, one of the most toxic subconscious programs I've come across, that I have only seen in people that are extremely well, let me just give you an example and let you guys come to your own conclusion. The first time I seen this program was in Ted Bundy. It is called the Confidentiality Program. I have since found it in Hillary Clinton's soul contract, as well as Brad Pitt's, which is also telling. I really think that that gives a better understanding, a better grasp on this program, because this program is all about duality, being extremely, extremely two-faced. But before we get into that, let's talk about the primary numbers in Austin's chart. His chart centers around the numbers 20 and 5. Both are entirely different, yet complementary to each other, because 5, I don't like 5. I don't vibe with 5, because it is somebody that really likes strict lines. You know, they like to color inside the box. They like to kind of follow societal norms, societal standards. They like rules. They like laws. But the other number, 20, kind of gives him a little bit more freedom, a little bit more leeway to play around with, so he's not so rigid, because 5 is very, very rigid. The number 20 is complex. On the surface, it's charismatic, fun-loving, party person, people-oriented. It thrives in celebration, social settings, and just a collective sense of gathering and joy. But at its core, it can be a battleground of ego, which is very, very interesting. When triggered, this energy can become tyrannical, demanding loyalty, judging others harshly, especially based on what they have, and craving admiration to the point of control. His number 5 energy is where we see the structure that he really longs for, but also sensitivity. The 5 is the number of rule followers. It's someone who thrives when things are in order, but also someone who might struggle to accept different perspectives or chaotic changes, which is ironic because he also has this impulsivity about him that comes from the energy of the number 20. So it's kind of a little bit of a paradox because both the 5 and the 20 are very, very different. He does have a tendency of doing things impulsively, which reminds me of what Catherine was saying about large, really large, like 6 figures disappearing out of their mutual account without him saying anything to her about it. And then she has to call him up and be like, hey, there was a huge chunk of money that just disappeared. Please tell me what is going on. What was that for? And it's usually something like an impulsive buy. So the 5 makes him resistant to change and not liking when it happens. This can cause friction when the world or a partner doesn't reflect his values or his timing. Now, in regards to his subconscious programs, he has many, and many of them are pretty harsh, pretty rigid when they're operating from their negative. The ones that I specifically wanted to touch on today is the manipulation program. He also has a program that kind of speaks to him being obsessed with material things, and the confidentiality program, which is one of the most toxic programs I have come across. So in regards to the manipulation program, why can't I say that word? Manipulation program doesn't always mean obvious deceit. This is not very outright and forward. It starts really small. It can start as small little control tactics or tactics to make you question, like gaslighting tactics, but it speaks to a tendency to use emotional or situational leverage to control outcomes, including, and here's the part that really bugs me about this program, potentially using children. And I'm going to speak to that, not using the Call Her Daddy podcast. This was actually something I came across in one of his Snapchat stories, I believe. I think he said that post book launch and post the podcast episode that dropped, he said that he was so devastated by it that when one of his daughters asked for him to come over to Catherine's house and open presents with her for her birthday, for his daughter's birthday, he said that he didn't see how he could do it because of everything that was said. He was seeing like it was too much or something for him. So that's one of the differences I see in the way Catherine is handling herself post this fallout. And Austin, he does not shy away from making a good guy and a bad guy. He does not shy away from saying that these are his kids. He doesn't say our kids. He makes that divide very, very clear, and he doesn't shy away from blaming Catherine and really villainizing her. Whereas in the podcast episode, and I really encourage all of you guys to listen to it, it's a little over an hour long, I believe, on the Call Her Daddy podcast. Catherine speaks about Austin with respect and almost reverence, especially in the beginning when she's talking about their love story, where they came from. It's really big of her, I think. I think it's really big of her. It's a lot more than he's doing, and while I understand her motivation is probably not to talk badly about the father of her children because she knows that it affects her kids, which means, again, this is kind of highlighting the loyalty and the 6 energy, where her primary focus is family. Her primary focus is always going to be on her children, and then comes everything else, which is very honorable. I do think that she either sugar-coated a lot of what happened. Like, I sensed it. I sensed that she was holding back so much, because I feel like there's a part of her that blames herself for what happened, because she mentions that a lot. She kept repeating throughout the episode that she takes responsibility and accountability for her lack of communication in the relationship. And while that's admirable, I really think that she barely scratched the surface of what was going on between her and Austin, because the way his programs are set up, it does not look good. I kept seeing the word arrogant pop up over and over again. I saw painfully arrogant pop up in his soul contract. And the negative side of this personality that's very good at being a public figure. He's very charismatic. He loves to get people going. He's the life of the party. He knows how to hype up the energy in the room. The negative side of that is somebody that is very, very much in love with themselves. And if you guys aren't aware, I believe that I don't know if it's confirmed. I don't know if it came out of his mouth, but Catherine said that it came out of his mouth, that he had cheated on her with 20 women or over 20 women, but Catherine herself only knows of 3. And one of the women that he cheated on her with was actually invited to one of their appearances, like public appearances. Like, this was a basketball game that was raising money for charity, and apparently Austin invited her there. And it was really interesting that when Austin tried to deny it, he didn't really have much to say about it itself. He was just saying, why would I do that? Why would I invite a mistress over to this charity thing to see me grabbing my wife's ass and like kissing her and holding her? But I thought that was a very interesting way of going about addressing that. I thought that was very suspicious, because with people like Austin McBroom, with people that have this energy about them, the arrogance really shows up when they are being accused of things, when they are being made to not be in a positive light. So what ends up happening is they start to really try to surround themselves with yes men. They try to surround themselves with people that flatter them, that only say good things to them. And I'm sure that we all know a person like that, who will be your best friend until you say something about them, until you say something bad about them, and then all of a sudden you're dead to them. They would rather surround themselves with people that are always going to be like, yeah, you're doing the right thing, you're totally in the right, the other person is totally in the wrong. So be very wary of those kind of people that kind of have very overinflated egos and like to stay that way. But yes, Austin's soul contract also speaks to him getting overly obsessive with material possessions, status, wealth. I think we can see that in Catherine's account of his spending habits. I also really don't understand how he could still maintain the following that he does. I think that's saying a lot about our culture, that he still has people listening to him, that he still has an audience, actually, especially after this all went down, because he and I know he was playing this up. I know that he was acting. He was acting all heartbroken and like he doesn't have a home, and like he bought himself a trailer and now he's living in a trailer or an RV or something, and he's I think he was hopping from friends to friend's house. Like, he was acting like he didn't have anywhere to live. And he was fake crying all the time. It was a very weird vibe. It was a very, very weird vibe. It was like a psychosis vibe. It made me feel like somebody should call someone and check on him and make sure that he is okay. And I think that is because his ego got damaged so hard that he was just not coping with it well. But like Catherine mentioned during the Call Her Daddy podcast, she mentioned what a hard worker he is and that he keeps getting up and that he was having an ego death. Funnily enough, she mentioned that he was having an ego death in one of his fights that was widely publicized or something like that. He did a boxing fight, I believe. I'm not sure. But he kept getting knocked down and he kept getting back up, even though he was fighting a fever. He was really sick. So, yeah, she was really saying a lot of positive things about him. But of course, especially when you are very arrogant and have a big ego in play, you're going to be focusing on all of the things that she said wrong about you. And maybe that's why Catherine sugarcoated so much of what was going on, because she knew this man. She was married to this man for 7 years, right? Or she was in a relationship with him for 7 years. She obviously knows that you have to kind of feed into his ego in order to get him to listen to you. And I think that's what she was doing. I think she was kind of trying to get closure for herself, but also kind of managing the fallout that would inevitably happen from this kind of expose. And obviously the fallout did happen. He did not talk well about her afterwards. So let's kind of lean into the confidentiality program that I have seen in Ted Bundy's soul contract, because this is a doozy. This is a big one. It's extremely rare, but perhaps the most telling out of all of the programs that are in his chart, because the people that have this program lead double lives, one for the public and one behind closed doors. And I would even go as far to say that I don't think that he was showing his true side behind closed doors either. I think that especially with people that are narcissistic or have narcissistic tendencies, I would go as far as to say they reserve their actual real life persona for themselves. Like, it's in their heads. They're really, really good at not showing their true self to others. So, for example, let's take Ted Bundy. He was in a relationship with a woman who had no idea who he was. At work, nobody had any idea who he was. Nobody thought that he was murderous or violent. Nobody had any suspicion of this guy doing anything close to what he was doing in his private time. And his girlfriend, she had a son from a different relationship, and Ted Bundy took him in as his own. He acted like the doting father. Like, this person is an expert at keeping up appearances, keeping up the mask. And from the sounds of it, he kept on this mask throughout his relationship with Catherine as well, because she has a lot of positive recollections between them. It sounds like there was this lack of communication. I feel like she did not want to bring a lot of stuff up. And it feels like because she knew that it would get shut down or that she would get lied to, and because she's naturally intuitive, she would have picked up on it and then just been like, I don't want to get lied to again, so I'm not going to ask him again. But yes, they lead double lives. In Ted Bundy's case, it was a triple life. And it's this program is a mask-wearing archetype, strategic, calculating, and deeply concerned with appearances. So to them, it is all an act. Just think about think about like them taking their life and very much making it a Hollywood production, because, and like, not just in Austin McBroom's case, but also in other people that I have found with this program, like Hillary Clinton, Brad Pitt. They're making their real life a production. They're acting like they're acting in real life. They're playing a role in real life, either of a supportive wife, a supportive husband. It is an act. And the only time that you see this act come down is when you attack them. Because remember, they like to surround themselves with yes men and people that flatter them and people that are going to promote their ego, soothe their ego, inflate it more. So when that doesn't happen, when they start feeling criticized, when they start feeling attacked, you start to see the actual person behind the curtain. This tells us that Austin likely lives in a psychological split, one that allows him to adapt and survive in the public world while keeping possibly darker truths deeply hidden, even from himself. Now, I also looked into their mutual karmic contract together. So that is a combination of both of their date of births. And the numbers that popped up for them are 8 and 13. So Catherine and Austin's souls didn't just stumble into each other's paths. They signed up to do this together. This was a karmic relationship. At its essence, they agreed to go from rags to riches together. I am not kidding. In their contract, it says that they start off with a lack of money, and they are meant to succeed. They're meant to flourish and have abundance together. This was part of the plan, rising through the shared struggle, becoming public icons, and being tested by fame, money, and pressure. Funnily enough, I did not see any mention of infidelity in Austin's chart, so I feel like he picked that up all on his own. He decided to do that in this incarnation, during the incarnation, probably because of all of the fame, the money that was coming to him, and all of the opportunities that he got to cheat. And with a person that has a very overinflated ego, it's not that difficult to make that happen. But back to their karmic contract. In the positive, they're a power couple. They can solve complex problems, balance each other's extremes, and carry the weight of this kind of really public life. Their bond has gravity, it has weight, it's deep, magnetic, and undeniably fated. So although it was a real big lesson for Catherine in regards to worth, I wouldn't be surprised if they had other incarnations together where they were able to stay together, where they were able to work it out as a family. But in the negative, when this relationship is going off path, when somebody chooses to operate from the negative and won't let the other person have the breathing room they need to grow, like, and this is one of the things that bothered me about Austin, is that he has accused her of a lot of things. He has accused her of doing ayahuasca in her home with her children there, which, again, based on her soul contract, I don't see this as a likelihood, because she's very passionate about her children and the safety of her children, because she's a mama bear. He also spoke about her thinking that she's Mary reincarnated, either Mary Magdalene or no, Mother Mary reincarnated. It feels like he is really digging in to the things that she finds sacred. He also accused her of turning him into a mermaid, but I can't even wrap my brain around that. But it feels like he is taking what's most sacred and most meaningful to her and really trying to crap on it in order to hurt her. And it's so evident. It's so evident. If you guys want to tune in to his Snapchat stories and kind of see the blame game that he's playing, I think you guys are going to be able to see it right away. But so yeah, I feel like when they were together, he really limited her exploration of these things because he didn't understand them. And maybe there's okay, I just got a download. I feel like he wanted her to worship him and nothing outside of him because of the ego. Oh my God, it's so inflated that anytime she looked outside of herself for meaning, he's like, no, that meaning is within me. This is our family is the meaning. This is what you need to be focusing on, me and the kids. And yeah, I think that really stunted her spiritual growth, which explains why once she got out of that relationship, you could see the shift. It was so heavy and tangible, the shift that she had into spiritual work, into talking about spiritual things. It was really beautiful. So their soul contract says that when they go off path, their life will place them in high pressure situations that expose the cracks in their relationship. Off the top of my head, I can think of a few difficulties that they went through. I remember that there was once an intruder on their property that tried to break in. They've been through a lot together. And all of these things tested their relationship, and I feel like these tiny little tests started showing Catherine where this was going wrong, where she was kind of being forgotten about in the relationship, and it was kind of Austin's show, Austin's stage, and the support and love that she needed was not there. So behind the scenes, there may have likely been tension, criticism, and the energy is so intense that it can easily tip into emotional volatility, especially when boundaries are crossed or personal needs are ignored. And as I'm saying this sounds so parallel to my own experience with my ex, because there were definitely struggles that exposed the cracks in our relationship, specifically with my son getting sick, and I didn't feel that support, so I can totally feel Catherine on this. Another thing I did feel called to mention about their compatibility chart is that it shows that a major life shift, like a breakup or a spiritual awakening, is going to be triggered by the death of somebody in their circle, somebody close to them. It's through this grief and loss that they reassess their path. Now, I'm not sure when Catherine's grandma passed away, but I think it was her grandmother that she wrote a book about. Like, she named the book after. She was very, very close to her grandmother, and she kind of really dug into her ancestors and her roots post this breakup. And I'm wondering if that is kind of the catalyst for her spiritual awakening and her being like, I can't live like this anymore, like not being certain if you're cheating and then finding out that he is. That could have been a catalyst to that. What's also fascinating is that their breakup doesn't end the story for them. This soul contract has this unfinished business vibe, which may pass on into another incarnation. So they're kind of forced to maintain a friendship or co-parenting relationship as amicably as possible, because the soul tie is very hard to fully sever. It's entangled and it is lifetimes deep. So, what do we make of Catherine and Austin's journey? At first glance, it's very easy to judge public figures, especially when we see how they started out. We kind of see their whole entire timeline in front of us. And it's especially easy to judge when they're caught in controversy. But when we look at the soul contract. We see something more. We see a spiritual blueprint unfolding through conflicts, challenges, cracks, fame, and really, really deep inner shadows. The spiritual work that is calling Austin, that is begging to come out of Austin, the reflection that needs to happen could be triggered by something traumatic. And I think if he takes that trauma and really sits with himself and tries to learn from it, he could come out of this a very beautiful, beautiful soul that is very well balanced, that respects the laws and boundaries and societal standards, as well as has this, oh my goodness, this beautiful thirst for life. It's possible that he could get there if he wants to operate from the positive, but again, that's his choice. So together they came here to be tested. They came here to build a family together and kind of to collapse that family and then transform themselves and their children. I think Catherine took a very, very brave step in ending the relationship. She spoke a little about her hesitancy. She spoke a little bit about the fears that she had surrounding it, especially because she felt like she was letting millions of people down. They had millions of followers, and everybody was looking up to them because they were the ideal family. They were the ideal couple, and she felt like she would be letting all of those people down if she chose to get a divorce, if she chose to separate. So kudos to her. She speaks a little on the podcast about how she would never in a million years say that she's okay with somebody stepping out of their marriage, as long as it didn't embarrass her, because she would never want that to be done to her kids. She would never want to be that kind of example for her kids. So again, it's underlying her core values, and it is a great example that she is setting for her kids. So that is all I have for you guys for Catherine and Austin's soul contracts. I feel like I could have dug a little bit more into it, but I think that the pieces of the story that you are missing, you guys can listen on the Call Her Daddy podcast. At this point, I feel like I'm promoting them. At this point, I feel like I'm making an advertisement. But yeah, if you guys are interested, check out both Catherine and Austin and let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of this entire conflict and everything that has happened. I do want to say there were moments of Catherine speaking where I deeply feel like she wants so badly to get closure and to be done with this relationship, but it's just not happening because, again, that soul tie is so strong. Like right at the beginning of that episode, she's like, I'm so healed, I'm so healed, and she kept saying that, and she kept saying, but honestly, I've healed, and it was giving me that this hurt her so deeply, it cut her so deeply that she might not fully heal from it for a long time, and that's okay. It's okay to take some time, to take some years to go through the pain and the process. She doesn't have to find that healing right away. She has to feel what she needs to feel to come out of this. But yeah, that's what I have for their soul contracts. Let me know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe for more. I'm going to be doing other celeb soul contracts on this podcast, and you guys can catch up with me next Friday. I make podcasts every Friday on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. Hit me up on my Instagram, The Soul Ecosystem, or my website, www.thesoulecosystem.com. I also have an Etsy shop. It is called The Soul Ecosystem, Not Complicated. If you guys wanted to get your own soul contract, look into what you agreed to accomplish in this lifetime, what you agreed to face in this lifetime, and learn and overcome. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a wonderful weekend.